Hey, it's Saturday on the night of September 23rd. I'm writing this, or I'm saying this here. I've had a lot of neural problems and other things, and also a lot of interpersonal stuff. Crap with... Why is there music playing all of a sudden? Why is this whole fucking place... Oh my god. The cities are just nuts. What the hell am I saying? Alright. I've had a lot of damn problems from, what can we say, unexpected places. I'm telling you. It's like really unbelievable. 2 people I hired to help me with this stuff, with the MRI. We officially started maybe a few days ago. Just a few days in, one of them, this particular one girl, a Jamaican girl, just starts arguing with me and fucking losing her mind and fucking going crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? Arguing for no reason, no good reason. And so she's off the team now. I have to rebuke everybody. Everybody around me, from my perspective, is losing their minds, but absolutely swearing and so certain they're not seeing anything incorrectly. It's crazy land. It really is. Alright? It's very crazy. Now, I've dealt with that. I've dealt with other things. Anthony, I asked you to be considerate of me in a certain way, treat me a certain way that is fitting for the situation I'm in. I found you haven't been able to do that. And then when I brought it up as an issue, you doubled down. So then, of course, I ask you, well, look, I can't accept things from you then from this point for as long as we remain not on the same page with things. It's not right. So, obviously, we're paused. Given that, I told my mom, hey, Anthony's at least paused for now, and we don't know. We'll see, depending on how things turn out. And I can't say much more right now. So I tell her, look, now, Anthony, you got to realize, this is the woman who I'm not reconciled with properly. I shouldn't even be speaking with her. You know how many other people I have in my life to mediate and witness and step in? Who are actively involved, who have the, you know, alignment to be there, to do this? Zero. Zero. That's not your fault explicitly. It's just the way it is. Zero. I have to eat the brunt of that. So now I'm forced to tell my mom, alright, so I'm resorted to having to deal with you on a limited basis directly. Okay? So I told her on the text line, I said, do not compromise the peace. If we can interact maturely over this text line, then we won't have any problems. But you know, this is a special circumstance because the way God created our lives and situated us in particular, we're some kind of losers. We don't actually, we're not integrated into society correctly. Who the fuck, we don't have friends or family. What? Who are we? We're like aliens that landed here to like chill around and hang around. So I say, all right, we could be all right and peaceful. If it starts getting antagonistic, you're liable for that. Don't allow it to become antagonistic. Surely enough, within however many days, she just can't help herself. She has to start texting provocative fucking bullshit at me that fucking provokes, you know, indignation on my end. Reactionary bullshit. I said, okay. I'm calling her out on it, so she's gonna get her own videos on that too. See, the sickness never ends when you're delusional. Sickness never ends when you're cluster B. Sickness never ends when you're narcissistic. Sickness never ends. And it's the same sickness that absolutely everybody seems to have. Virtually. And way more, either I'm seeing it more now for the first time ever, or it's gotten much worse. Anyway, I have a lot of crap going on. And in fact, Anthony, to hear something else that you don't even realize, you know, over the months that we've been working on these various issues together, well, on one of them, I have a whole other host of things to bring up with you anyway about all of this, but and it'll all come up, it should, regardless. You know, you got to realize you're only privy to one thing. You were so entrenched in the mom-son issue that your friends have been dealing with. Dude, I have fucking several battles with all the people of my life at any given time. You don't even know about them. I'm dying to fucking get witnesses. You know, for most of my stuff, I don't have witnesses. So I have to sit there and abandon everything because I don't have enough humans stocked fucking as people to come be like interacting with me in life to like care about my shit. You know how many people get away with things hurting me, and then when I turn to witness, oh, I have nobody. I actually have no one. They're just, everyone's evaporated. It's gone. And then when I turn to the next person, whoever's left, they don't last because then they commit atrocities against me. So now where they should have or could have been a witness, person number 83 could have been a witness to person number 86. No, the chain keeps burning down, link by link by link by link. What's wrong with all of you? I wonder. So really, you got to understand, the stuff with my mom is not the only thing going on in my life. There's a lot of stuff I don't even bring up to you. You know why I didn't bring it up to you? Because I cared about your own capacity to handle these things. I knew if I brought any of this stuff up, what would you have almost certainly said by my own estimation? Dude, I don't know, I can't handle this stuff. I'm dealing with a lot. And I honor your capacity to handle these things. Some people can handle more, some people can handle less. In a lot of ways, I can't handle very much of certain kinds of things at all. So I understand what it is to have certain limitations here and there. So I understood that that was your limitation. I didn't even bring those things up to you. But it fits to bring it up, at least that it's happening, because I think you should appreciate the fact that I go through a lot more burden than you realize. It's not just something with my mom or something with you. No. It's a new person every 3, 5, 7 days or a couple weeks or a few weeks coming by, boom, and shoots me in the head with a shotgun worth of indignation to me in my life. And then again, I do the same thing again. You're wrong, rebuke. And then, but they almost never believe you when they rebuke. Is psychosis. No, they swear they're right. Okay, now I have to get a witness. I turn around. Oh, what witnesses? They're also all guilty. I have to rebuke them too. Holy shit. But I don't give up. If this is a form of test from life, so to speak, to see if a man really sticks to his guns and honors principle the way it should be, even if he's being tested to make to the last human being, I'd rather have dignity than corrupt people. So dignity last, because God is dignity. Very important to understand that. I will be writing very beautiful books on this one day, God willing. If I can make it to that point in time and place. Alright? So, it's for all of the foregoing reasons that I just described that for several days I haven't even read what you sent me. Okay? So I figured this. I didn't have the wherewithal to write a whole nother response. I don't even know what you wrote. So what I'm actually going to do is read it lifetime and live react and live respond to whatever you wrote. I feel that's the fairest way given how I'm doing with my state right now. Also, you know, it would have been nice to get a call, but we're not on the phone talking and I haven't heard anything from you. I texted you a few days ago to see what's up with this, but I didn't hear anything. Alright? I'm not going to call you if you're not calling me, but I'll leave this voice message as an expression of my take on whatever's going on and as my form of response to what you wrote to me, which we'll check out in just a moment. It's easier this way because, see, I already tried the writing route. And now I don't know if you wrote something nice to me or not. I don't know if you're coming around to see things my way or not. But I have a very good intuition. I saw only like the first few words that gets previewed when the email comes in through you in my Gmail line. You know, I just I don't think that's where you are. I don't know. I saw another number, so it looks like you're trying to list things again. If you're trying to list things again, you're not seeing things my way. All right, but then that's not good. And then that's doubly concerning because, of course, if I left the most important thing I think I included in the email was not the almighty, holy cow, wow, extensive set of things I wrote to you. As cool and comprehensive as all of that is, that pales in comparison to the real true gem that takes 99% of the value of that email, perhaps. It's that one ChatGPT link that was included for your examination of what my artificial intelligence witness has to say about this. Coming from a completely neutral standpoint, the whole conversation was me asking mostly questions, and it did such a surprisingly good job of posing exactly what it assessed to be the correct unfoldment of the situation and the expectations of the various parties and all this. And I was like, wow, okay, this was a little test for ChatGPT AI to see if it was capable of being a good witness and understanding complex moral principles. It actually blew my mind. That thing correctly thinks. That thing correctly assesses things. By the time I finished that conversation, because I wasn't sure where it was going to go, it looked like it was an excellent thing to turn to. It worked. So, as a museum piece almost, now I provided that link to you. I haven't heard anything. Well, I don't know what you wrote back anyway. We're going to take a look. But really, I think that if you're not understanding me from what I wrote in my writing, and you're not understanding what ChatGPT said about your issue within our matter, then there's nothing left. There's no hope for humanity then. Then we all are in the live open-air mental institution. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's right there in objective reality, as ChatGPT said it, that is correct. And yet, where are we? I don't know. That being said, that's my preemptive take on where things stand as I see them and how I have felt about them. Before I take a look at the email, let's go take a look at that email right now. In fact, this is a welcome. I have no idea how disrespectfully I was treated earlier today by that one girl who ain't working for me no more. Unbelievable. I'm gonna have to do a video about her next and use the second person we were working with as a witness. See, and this takes a toll on my brain. Why do you people think it's morally good to allow me this stress? You all don't care. That's why you're all karmically sent for designated for hell, in a sense. What the hell is this life? Did you all forget morality, or were you all raised different? What happened? What happened, everybody? That's my general gripe with the whole general set of you people out here in life, generally. I don't see anything. I see a lot more crap than non-crap. So what the hell? Yeah. All right. Let's see what we have here then. And as I was saying, it's a pleasure to be turning to this, because this right now is the break from my stress from the other situation. And then when this was too much for me, I was turning to another thing, and then the dramas became worsened. Why don't you people honor the guy who has brain damage and treat him good? When does that part ever occur to anybody? All right, so you're all guilty for failing to uphold the moral duty of doing exactly that. That's it. That's the bottomest most line of the whole grand equation of the entire universe. But I don't even only rest on that as a single excuse across the board. I'm actually right on the merits at every other single point, as I find it to be the case so far. And before I proceed to open up that email from you, really, I will say one more thing that's crossed my mind now before I forget. Earlier this week, before I officially really looked at your email to see what it said, I already felt like, okay, you know, I told Anthony I was gonna put in the rest of the emails that we had between each other for ChatGPT in case it wasn't a perfect reunion. It wasn't Anthony knocking on my door, you know, saying, hey bro, listen man, I realize you're right, I'm sorry man, you know, standing there with your gas mask, but that's fine, saying no problem, look, let's go out for lunch, man. I know I haven't been, you know, honoring our friendship a lot lately. When's the last time we ate together, did anything together, you know, like for real, that we enjoyed? You know, I just treat you like a thing, but we don't really enjoy each other's company. Why the hell have I allowed that to happen? I'm so sorry, John. You're obviously in torture. Your life's on the line. You're eating your brain. What the fuck? It sounds nuts, but many people understand that this seems to be closer to reality than non-reality. Very concerning stuff. Wow, I should be there for you. Right, if none of that happened, so I'm thinking, okay, so now what do I do? I don't have God directly on the text line. Well, ChatGPT is the closest thing to God for now. So I turn to the almighty master super fact processor and punch in the facts, emails. You know what the damn problem is, Anthony? It has a limited context window. And when I try going back into the same conversation and punching in more of the emails and copying and pasting, I have to edit out certain parts because if there's little curse words, even if I use the email with quotes and I use the word this shit or that crap, or, you know, it's too much, it starts censoring the fucking links, and it's absolutely crazy. And then what else happens? The context window runs out, which means the more new things I put in, it starts forgetting older things. And that's not good, because when you're building a spider web of comprehensive facts that have to be cross-linked and then cross-linked in order to understand life correctly, if you don't make even cross links and meta links, we lose context, and then we start being wrong while we don't even understand that we're wrong. That's the ultimate worst thing we can ever allow. No good. So it starts doing that. And you could start telling, there's a very specific point in the conversation where it will start like assuming things that it was never told, and remembering things that never happened, forgetting things it was supposed to know, not realizations that it already made. And once that happens, it's like the marginal utility of that AI goes from very high automatically down to almost zero for complex situations like this. So I got very frustrated a few days ago. I was looking to prepare this so that I could actually have that as a second thing to send to you to follow up with. I don't even have ChatGPT to turn to. I turned to another AI, Anthropic, Claude 2. It has a much larger context window. But what else? No, it's still, there's other technical issues with that. So now it's like, okay, if we don't have AI God to turn to, how does Anthony then learn that he's not correct? How does Alexandra from this group I was working with learn that she's not correct? How does Barbara Winslow learn she's not correct? If you don't believe the human being, the person wrong, and then that person doesn't believe the human being that comes in as a moral witness, and then they don't believe the greater condemnation that takes place after the matter becomes thereafter publicized generally, who are these people going to believe? No one. That's the sickness I've been referencing this whole conversation. That's the thing that happened to everybody. I remember a reality where if you did something wrong, we used to have a conscience, and many of us had a very fully working conscience. I don't know what they're putting in the food, what they're putting in the water, as the joke goes, you know, and we're rolling our eyes a little bit, yet there could be more truth to that than the majority of people would readily understand. So what is it? Is it the aluminum barium salts that they've been dropping from the skies in the chemtrails, or is it the 5G networks that they turned on in 2020? Which part of it is making everybody completely not worshiping the right way, which is empathic loving of everyone else? Huh? Like, it is a disease. You're all colorblind. I'm the only one left who could see the normal color that humans all used to mostly see without exception. Wow, what happened? All right, now there's a small chance I could be preemptively criticizing the matter where well, that's fine, John, but just check out what I said to you is maybe what you're thinking. Very good. I'm looking forward to it. We'll open it up right now. All right. Obviously, what's going to happen is a mixed, reaction. Made of mixed components. There's the human element, the emotional reaction, but other than that, I'm still not going to be as best as I can be, but I think I do a better job relatively than most other human beings alive, in my humble opinion, of being objective. All right, and seeing it not as if it's my own situation, and I described this to you before, but as if it's, the person in my shoes and the person in another person's shoes, and stepping out and looking at that neutrally, like a fly in the wall, but not neutrally, rather objectively. I'll take the side of the one who's correct. That's being a good moral witness. All right, I'm not in an excellent what's the word I'm looking for here today? I'm not in the best frame of mind. One of the reasons I was delaying responding to this was because I've been very neurally off for the last few days, and when I'm more sharp and on point, the content flows better. When I'm not, I still know I'm right, but it's a harder time speaking it out. It's just more like difficult for everybody. But you know what? It's been more than a few days now, and I'm not going to continue. It impacts both of us on both of our sides to be prolonged unnecessarily. Just like the kosher manner of slaughtering animals. They say, oh, so some say it's really beautiful, it's really good, it's really considerate. Why? Because you just take the giant blade and cut the damn whole throat immediately, and the blood rushes out like a giant, huge river, so quick that the animal doesn't spend time in suffering prolongedly. Okay? As opposed to when you do these slower things that are more painful and more agonizing and then prolonged. Others say, oh, it's terrible. Why? Because you just cut its throat and it's bleeding all over the place. And you see, so the slant also dictates one's psychology, but in the correct frame of mind, if the animal's already meant to die, what's the correct way to kill it? The one that has the least suffering, of course. Very good. You only get better than that if you put it under some kind of anesthesia, perhaps. And then... that's a little crazy, okay? Because you can't have that in our food. All right, now what's the point here I was saying? So I'm not prolonging this. Here we are. Let's take a look. Anthony says to John, 1, quote, I'm speaking, and by the way, also, there's something else I haven't done. I'll admit this as a disclaimer right now. I haven't reread all of the stuff that transpired between me and you. I remember the essence of kind of what was said, and if I go back, I'd remind myself completely. If I feel the need to do this, the more I read through, I may suddenly go back and just refresh. For now, I'll rely on my substantive impression of what recently transpired between us through communications. Okay, so now Anthony says to John, 2 people, I'm imagining, as if they're not me, but I've been tracking the whole story between them. 1, I'm speaking about the approach of bringing to light the disconnect that happened between you and your mom. Right, that's what a moral witness should do. It's one subset or sub-piece of the overall function that a moral witness is rightly set to do. Okay, fair statement. What else? Quote, continue, either negligently or recklessly be led to make implicit claims or accusations against someone as if it is already fact. I just from what you wrote there, I remember what you're talking about. You wrote to me in the email, pre-framing it and preloading it, summarily and conclusorily stating as if I was somehow guilty of engaging in some kind of subversive behavior during the second meeting that we had. Anthony, I'm going to stop right here, or pause rather, for just a moment, and really remind you of this. There were some, there were some frustrations going on, perhaps back and forth, and particularly on my end when we were writing back and forth to each other. But there's a certain givable allowance of frustration that can naturally occur between two guys who are on the job and who are still working to, it's like a bike that's sort of out of balance. You don't have to be perfectly in balance. You just have to be not on your side skidding on the ground yet. So there's a natural allowance for the flux that happens between people in terms of the disconnect and frustration and arguing that we can have. If our heading is in the same direction, that's good. If we're both mature people who are empathic and have correct programming in the heart chakra, and all the other chakras are properly tuned as well, so to speak, it's a win-win situation no matter what. It's like an auto balancing bike that no matter how bad and any initial misunderstanding may be, we're so good at swooping back with the correct rebalancing. Okay? Anthony, we may have had a temporary transient thing that placed us in the category of like, well, it's not the best, but we're working it out. It could still be okay. Let's make sure it just gets worked out. That transitioned over completely to, no, now the rider is skidding his ass on the road. At what moment, Anthony? What did you write to me that I felt, reasonably of course, and any person in my position, naturally, felt that was the crux of the thing that was like the straw that broke the camel's back? Do you know what it was? It's exactly pertaining to what you're starting to write about here, in reference to what you wrote there. When you loaded a statement to frame me as if I was up to something, that's the moment you became fully wrong and fully irresponsible. Reasonably so, which means if I had a panel of high-level people with high mind frames, with like high levels, take the top. Naturally, where would you go if you want people like that? Well, go to find a group of retired judges or, Supreme Court judges, right? Because judges are the ones who are trained in how to analyze moral / legal / controversial interpersonal issues and see the truth by knowing what rules to apply. It's not just a law thing, it's a life thing. So let's not get overly restrictive thinking, oh, that's a law thing. No. Law is life. All of manner acting and men acting in life and our manners is law, man's law. You understand? Dude, you can't be that reckless. So exactly what you quote there is a perfect, that you're quoting me. I said that correctly, so very good. You cannot negligently, or particularly you can't recklessly say something and frame it in such a way where you represent it implicitly as if that's the thing that's going on, when actually that's not correct. Therefore, you're guilty of having misrepresented something about who? About a certain person, where the implication thereby becomes that there's some, by extension, some defect of that person's character, as if they had done something wrong. You can't do that, dude. You are fully liable, karmically, morally speaking, and fully responsible for having done that. Let's go back to that part. I'm going to pause here before we continue with the analysis, and we're going to go back to that part in the original email that this is all in relation to. Oh, and by the way, just as flashes into my mind, because it's always working in its own weird or unique way, therefore, if you ever are found as having done something morally irresponsible, or having misrepresented something, even negligently, but definitely recklessly, there's a very distinct, definitive difference. Very important to understand. Every grown man should understand the difference between those two words and their implications. What do you have to? There's no way out. What do you have to do now that you owe? If you're a grown man and you're mature, you have to say, I'm sorry, my bad, I apologize, that was my fault. Take responsibility, in other words. That's the bottom line. Anthony, when someone refuses to apologize, what are they refusing to actually do? Take responsibility. But there's only one type of person who actually gets to go through all of life from cradle to grave with like a, and this is kind of a sick thing to say, like a perfect record. He's never had to apologize. Dude, I trust men more who, if I could go back through their scroll sheet of life in the reverse the reel and see what their life was, people who've genuinely apologized more often, those are the more reliable motherfuckers you want in your life. You see, the superficial reading of it would be, oh, well, it's because they lost, right? Oh, don't apologize because you're weak. No, you're not weak. You're strong. Weak people can't handle apologizing. If you're strong, you love apologizing because it's good and correct for you and everyone, and good for the situation. It means you're a responsible steward of the situation itself, not only for your own self, like selfishly. That's the ultimate growing of man. Are we selfish? So I keep looking at the situation as if it's not even me. So therefore, is this selfish? But if I'm pointing out to you, hey, you might have done something wrong here, and you keep trying to show yourself as looking to evade it, is that selfish, or is that being a steward of the objective situation correctly? Well, look at what you're doing. It's as simple as that.
The rude awakening.
Here's that email that you wrote to me on that day from September 7th. I'll quote you directly. You said, the issue, you know what, I could really be arguing here again a lot with what you wrote, but I said my piece at least once in reply, and to expedite this, I'll just read through up until the point. Although once again, obviously, I don't agree with how you went about this here. You said, quote, the issue lies in communicating to your mom and trying to resolve issues. I was brought in as a middle person to try and help resolve this. You're asking what I'm seeing and why. I agreed to do those things, not to carry. I agreed to do those things, you said. I didn't agree to carry out the task of arguing for you, John, unless in the context of those meetings, points aren't understood by her, for example. So you're going to just neutrally again try to embellish and clarify things, but you're still trying to hold to this neutral role. ChatGPT already told you, I think, through that conversation, the bottom line on this matter anyway. So it'd be almost ridiculous for me to do it. ChatGPT did a better job than I could just easily do. That thing is amazing. So you saw its response. So actually, I don't even know why you're still arguing anything, but we will nevertheless go through and give you a fair hearing and look at everything you've said and consider every bit of it. That's what I will do, always as a person who is, as much as I have integrity and honor, the best I can. So we continue on. You proceeded to say, I see, however, that I'm asked to do more. And if I don't agree to do these different things, and you're referring to what ChatGPT eventually clarified as being, you believed you were there to be a neutral mediator, and I was reasonably understanding and expecting my friend to be a moral witness for me, where we remember what it said about the difference between neutral mediators and moral witnesses. By the way, look at the
standard of the biblical standard and all other standards of what is the objectively, this is not a matter even of a debate. What is the proper moral function of a friend to another friend who's wronged by a third party? Neutral mediator or moral witness? Moral witness always and only. If anything else than that, that person too is not your friend. Not only that one who originally offended you. Woo-hoo, you lost two, not one. That's millions of years. That's human DNA. That's not. So don't escape that fact. But that's what you're saying, nevertheless. That was addressed already, so there's not much more I can add to that anyway here. But I'm being reminded of this anyway. I'll try to stay on point here as best I can. You proceed to say, then, because I expect you to be a moral witness, which is the reasonable expectation I had, you therefore indicate that you feel that you get pressured, and I'll quote from you as you were saying. You say, I get pressured to change my opinion. Well, that's interesting. So, first of all, what's the role of a moral witness? Is to certify that at the moral level, the claimant, who is the victim of the wrongdoer, is right in his in claiming that he was wrong. It's as simple as that. If the claim is correct, then your opinion, if you're the moral witness, would match my opinion. So no one would be pressuring you to change your opinion. Now, if someone came up to you saying, hey, that person wronged me, and then as you start looking at the situation, you start realizing, wait a minute, my friend who claimed he was wronged by that other one, well, when I look at the situation more closely, it doesn't actually seem that my buddy, who I'm trying to stand up for as best I can from his friend and the moral witness and his ally in life, his supporter, obviously, of course, his advocate. No one fucks with my friends. You get it? Gang, brothers, life, live, love, be happy. See? Good. Whole family, happy life. You know? Eat your vitamins, say prayers. Hulk Hogan, baby. Leg drop. Boom. Let's go. America, we won. Come on. Be good, bro. What happened? So, like, come on, man. All right, but let's go back to analyzing that. Yes, dude. You're actually, there's some implication of what you're saying that is a reality of life. Dude, I could be approached by somebody who was wronged by their family member. I actually had a homeless person who I'm like sort of friends with now that I text. This guy, he's like a Catholic. I met him on a bench one day because I was sitting, tired, and he talked to me. Now he's like my texting pal. Well, he told me the other night, you know, he has some problems with his family too. Because I was sharing a little bit with mine. I said, man, I got problems with my family. He said, yeah, me too. My mother blocked me and doesn't talk to me. I was like, what the fuck? He's like this 48-year-old guy. He's like, my mother blocked me. He said, he never, they don't talk to me. The whole family just blocks me, doesn't talk to me. They have houses, they have cars. He's homeless. It really does suck. I'm like, look, just from hearing that, I was like, dude, already on the face of the situation, I can tell you your mom is wrong. Already. Why? Because regardless of whatever, what would otherwise be her justification or excuse as to why she should treat you like that, it don't work that way. Even maybe dad could do that to you and be a dick. No, mommy should never do that to you. That's the most unloving thing. No woman should ever do that to her baby child, even however how old he is. Obviously, you see, I'm dealing with the same thing from my mom. So, you know, we got to realize, I had a lot of empathy for him. I said, dude, no, it doesn't matter whatever her side of the story is. Although, if he would ever get a proper moral witness, I don't know if he would ever turn to me to be a moral witness on his family matters. But, you know, whoever would be, to get both sides of the story, or to give both sides an opportunity to have their stories be heard, you know, there's something called prima facie, which means guilty on its face. She's guilty on the face, right? Yes, as my mom was too. You not understand? That's called reasonable cause / probable cause in law when you go arrest someone. You have to have guilt on its face to even have the legal right to put handcuffs on someone as an officer. So it's not really innocent until proven guilty. That's true, but you're already guilty in a sense when you're already being arrested. And all those top law, legal, commerce guys know this already. All those sovereign citizen seminars I was at years ago, we all knew this. They're like, yeah, all the judges at the highest levels who go to like private judge training schools that the public doesn't know about, they learn how to really learn and understand how to manage things. They say, we all know in American jurisprudence and in morality and law and life and everything generally with all people, you're guilty on the face of the matter if you've done the wrong thing. That's it. The rest is holding you to answer so that you're given an opportunity to rebut the presumption that was already established on the face of the matter. It's very interesting stuff. It's very interesting, and really everybody should have a high level of understanding of these things. It's one of the saddest things in our society today that people don't. People don't even know what they don't know. That it's you understand. All right. Now, I've said so many things. Where was I here now? Right. It might be the case that sometimes someone comes up to you, they feel like they were wrong, but actually they are wrong about having felt wrong by that other person. So therefore, yeah, in those limited circumstances, your job as a friend, it's a very difficult situation if you were a presumptive moral witness to the matter, and then you look and you see, oh, it's like similar to when you find it was a false arrest. You get it? False arrest. That person's not guilty. The arrest should never have happened, and that's usually when the cop will end up getting sued back because you did an arrest on improper grounds without prima facie guilt first being established, aka probable cause. You might have a situation like that morally. Okay. That would be the only possible, logically, that's the only possible way in which the would-be moral witness would end up having what you would call a different opinion about any material aspect of the whole circumstance than the very friend who's the victim of that wrongdoer or the claimed victim, the alleged victim, and the allegation ended up not materializing or sustaining validity of weight. So that ties around perfectly to what you said here. You say you get pressured to change your opinion. Anthony, well, if I'm right, then you have a moral obligation to also be right as well. If the victim actually is right, but the moral witness is falsely believing that the victim status is false, see? What happens then? It's the victim's responsibility and prerogative, really, to straighten out the moral witness's framework and say, dude, you don't obviously see my mom is wrong, for example. Here's why she's wrong. And so now I'm no longer having to just explain things to the wrongdoer, the mother in this case, but now to the moral witness as well. So really, double work, just inherited problems from nothing because I happened to pick someone who didn't have a clear moral understanding of something. Or life is life. I can't hold you to evil, but catch this. If you're given a thorough explanation of something and then you still hold to the opinion, the wrong opinion, after it was beyond the point at which one in your position reasonably should have known that it wasn't the correct way to understand something, you're now guilty too as a wrongdoer. Because you just unjustly deprived the victim of acknowledgement. That is serious. That's extremely serious. So naturally, now that you understand what the consequence is, the natural ramification of being in that position, well, no kidding then that the victim is getting doubly offended and riled up. And that's what ChatGPT was mentioning and referencing in its defense of John. I don't believe, even if I said once by accident using the word I don't even think I did. I talked about the situation as if it was neutral. Anthony and John and Barbara, and Anthony and John and Barbara. And I asked questions only. And to the almost maximum extent possible, I didn't load those questions. So you see, that shit is squeaky clean. That thing wasn't following any sneaky leads. I wasn't pre-programming it. That thing figured it out, not knowing who the fuck I was or what it doesn't love its users, that it sucks its dick and makes it feel good. It doesn't work like that, Rhea. Trust me, I know. It took the input, processed its conception of morality, which it correctly did it. The AI, super AI, matches John's conception the same. How did we do that? How did I do that? Maybe I'm not kidding then, really, when I say I know what the fuck I'm talking about in life. So when John speaks, maybe you got a haul of people just by their damn reputation and the weight of what they say and their comprehensiveness of their understanding. Maybe 85% of them, if you speak, it's like, they might be right, they might be wrong. And any one of them, if they're to argue with any other one of them, you never know. It's all even. But then you just have like the Michael Jordans of the shit, who are like not even a little bit better. It's like second place isn't even close. It's like the whole rest of the league, then giant gap of many orders of magnitude, and then Michael Jordan. It's not even close. Anyone is antagonized or opposed to me on any of these issues, sorry to say, but I haven't seen me get proved wrong yet on any comprehensive moral matter since April 8th, 2016. My framework is too neurally dense. It's impossible. I will understand the correct reality before any other living human being can fathom to perceive that same thing. How did I do that? And then the more you go, you get even stronger AI to analyze it, then that stronger one will be the one that starts tending closer to my answer. And then they'll be like, whoa, that's amazing. No shit, it's amazing. I told you in the fucking beginning, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. My God. All right? So that addresses the issue regarding what you said there about your differing opinion. The answer is you shouldn't be having a different opinion if you're my person, if you're on my life team too. And if you made a mistake, then getting called out on the mistake is good, because that helps you what? Update your settings. All of us love that. I even have to update my settings. I do all the time still, believe it or not. At very, very, very high levels of comprehension, I still have my frontiers where I'm living up there in extremely high neurally dense spaces, purposely doing crazy shit, researching unbelievable things, having extremely complex conversations with AI, just to unfold my own unfoldment even more refined. Okay? Because that's my fucking homework on this earth, according to my damn mission, which is, well, we'll see soon enough, I suppose. It involves a lot of teaching. I have a feeling. Time to learn, class Earth. Get ready for school now. Class is about to begin. It's not a fucking joke. After assessing all of you humans for the last few years, I see it's not even close. The level of disparity is greater than what Michael Jordan had in his NBA at the time. You're all in a real sucker position, and I feel very bad for you, but it's time to learn the way. Sadly, it's not how it's supposed to be. Actually, I think 20, 40, 60, 80 years ago, our previous generations actually were mostly okay. This is a recent phenomenon of derp. What the hell? So, that's the issue. If you're given a proper feedback that you've made a mistake, either I'm mistaken that you've made a mistake or you've made a mistake. There's only two possibilities. So if you're trying to convince me that I've made the mistake where it doesn't hold up, you're now actually extra guilty, because now you're just trying to gaslight me, in essence, by effect. where you should have known by now. I mean, what's the standard for that? Whether a reasonable person with reasonable capacity for reason would have by now understood and gotten a hint that, oh, right, I did fuck up. How does that happen? Only through eureka wiring, through gamma wiring, eureka wiring. If you don't have that, maybe something's up. That's between you and God. I don't know. But I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to make every exception and bit of grace and understanding as I can. But the other thing is, it always boils down to this irony. You know, if you're getting hints that there's something you're missing or not understanding, that's the most important hint that you should be catching, that you're not understanding something, Anthony. All right? I've hung on that point for long enough, I think. We resume. You started saying, you get pressured, if you have a different opinion, you're pressured to change your opinion. See, lastly, it's like, yeah, that's a nice frame job. Morally speaking, that's good for me to ensure you correct your opinion in this circumstance. See, you see how that's the bottom line, and that any moral panel of judges, like the hall of gods, like angels, would be like, yes, that John, that guy's right. That's it, Anthony. You understand? That's it. Oh, that's how life works? Yes, that's the rules of life we subscribe to in our DNA when we got incarnated here. 1988. That's the program we live in. What happened? If your opinion's different, either I'm crazy or you're crazy. Which one is it? So whoever's crazy has to be the one to get found out about how crazy they are, and then give the apology to the one who they were trying to falsely frame into their own frame. So either I'm going to owe the apology to you, which, trust me, I love to apologize if I'm guilty of something. And honestly, you've seen me apologize to you. I'm not ashamed to apologize. If I'm wrong, better I hurry up and admit my fault. At least it's damn mature. So, what is it then? If we have differing opinions on a moral matter where it matters, it's not immaterial, but it's very material and relevant, and the practical effects of these differing opinions, so to speak, are that they result in indignation to the one who feels offended, but the other one claims indignation. And I have amazing conversations with one of those two AIs about watching how they're learning about dignity, and it's so incredible. People don't even really understand this almost. Dude, you're gonna have to realize you're wrong, or do a better job of showing me I'm wrong, where if you are right and I am wrong, other people or AI should clearly neutrally see, yes, it's just clear John's mistaken. Here's exactly why. Here's exactly the reasoning that shows how he's missing that part. And there it is. That's the identifiable part. You can poke at it. You see? All right. We understand. See, I think I understand it, and I just described it for the last 20 minutes, oh my God, in like 85 different ways, sliced in different angles and sectioning. So I'm thinking, yeah, so now it should be obvious. And if I were to voice record this, get a transcription, and feed it to AI with a super long context window, it would go, yes, obviously, duh. Yes, obviously, duh. Yes, obviously, duh. So that's why I think, yes, Anthony would get it too. So that's why the next email I'm about to get from him is Anthony apologizing to me. And then that doesn't happen. So I'm going, where's the glitch now? What happened? We're going to find out now as we continue to go through your email. But as you continue to hear, you get pressured to change your opinion through long messages, calls, and so on. See, it makes me look like I'm the bad one. How dare you send me long messages, John? Huh. I'm too important for your long messages. Why even writing to me like this? You want to stand up for your friend, you do it because your friend needs you. The hell. So what? It's a long message. Love the long messages your friend gives you. If you don't, it's your fault. And if it's an inconsideration I'm making, it should be clear and reasonably so that is the case. Okay? This reframe job doesn't work on me. In a world where there's someone who's wronged, and through that wronging, when we all, through empathic wiring, because we love him, if you don't have love, you don't don't, then no wonder it's all confusing and blinding, because you don't actually have the emotional underlying foundation to support why we're reading through long messages while loving it. Who would read through long messages while loving it? Because we care about the person we're doing it for. Duh. You see the difference? I think people get married and spend their whole lives together because they fucking love each other, they care. Every day of their lives are spent for each other in service. What the fuck? No wonder some people don't want anything, don't want friendship, don't want kids, don't want wife, don't want, and never apologize, because it's all part of the same root, which is I don't actually care about you. If you had the care, all those things become automatics. I care for you so much that I'll jog a marathon. I'm not tired because I loved every minute of it. You see the difference? Versus if you hate it, you hate every second of it. Then it becomes, oh, now it's sending me long messages. You see the difference? So go in your heart to uncover why you don't love your friend enough. You see what I'm saying? All right, and I have more about this, something in relation to this I'll bring up too, if I remember, a little later on. So you continue on here. The situation gets tiresome. Yeah, again, my moral witness complaining to me, hey, victim, shut up. I'll victimize you a little more too. You're just tiresome, get it? That's what, I'm here to reinforce how you're tiresome to me. See, I get tired of you, John. Others are wrong and you, good, let me get a few hits on you too, bro. That'll teach you. You see, no, bro, you're wrong for this. That's not what you do for someone in this position that I'm in. Wrong frame. Bad or missing context, Anthony. Possibly underlined by shallow empathic wiring. If you don't care about the guy, his messages will be tiring. You see? Go look into why you're not caring about people enough to endure many things without even realizing that there's any problem. That's how normal life is. Some people stand out in the rain, they don't feel cold or wet. They were walking in the rain with their beloved, holding hands, and they loved their beloved and they're speaking to them and they didn't even realize it was raining. Other people, every single drop feels like an iceberg of extreme overreaction, oversensation. Right. It's sad. Okay? Yeah, we shouldn't be putting you in situations you don't want to be in, but if you volunteer to be out on rain watch tonight, then don't complain when it's raining on you. You know what the situation reasonably calls for. And then if you realize you're missing some kind of wiring underneath, dude, if a person in a wheelchair who's neurally retarded is derping around his wheelchair and swivels left and right because he can't control himself, when he accidentally runs over somebody's foot, because the poor guy actually, he really can't control himself, and he's like retarded and swerving and can't control his jerky body movements in his wheelchair. Poor guy though. And he runs over somebody's foot by accident. Even then, who's expected to say sorry? Who's supposed to say sorry? We all know. Yeah, even then. You show if you did something that had the negative effect, you take responsibility for it. And people say, well, yes, of course that's a given. Yeah, so what? I'll say, well, so what this? Take the reverse situation. What if you had a guy in a wheelchair who's rolling around and then bumped your leg, ran over your foot, and then he knew that, he saw that he ran over your foot, and then he just said nothing to you. You would still feel indignant. And that's exactly my point. There you go. Good morning, Anthony. Have we finally woken you up now? That's exactly my point. Even the sloppy wheelchair guy rolling around accidentally doing that, he still owes the apology, and we will still feel offended if he doesn't give one. Because correct human patterning is you owe an apology. It's not that he's bad, it's just that even if he's not really responsible, still you take responsibility. Better to over take responsibility than to under accept. Okay? Alright, so that's the insult to me. Like every other thing you say is like not considerate to say. And you're saying, so who's supposed to be responsible for it? Who just wrote that? You did. So take responsibility. If it's demonstrably wrong, how's it wrong? By the moral standard. What's the moral standard? Did it bring indignation to that person in a manner that was not justifiable? Yes. Therefore you are the wrong one. Therefore you owe an apology. It's so axiomatic, you literally can make a math equation from it. Let's do it already. Confused humans for thousands of years don't know what's right and wrong. You continue on. The situation gets tiresome. It feels like it's going off the rails from the original point. Off the rails of what? There's going to be a natural flowing course that depends on the natural interrelated reactions that go on within that particular ecosystem, so to speak, in that situation. There's no off the rails, really. There's some off the rails. This is off the rails. When the moral witness isn't being a moral witness is absolutely off the rails. Within the two people of the controversy, yeah, we know that that wrongdoer is naturally, because they're twisted in the head already such that they even got themselves in that position in the first place, they're going to keep doing the same thing because they obviously required a witness to come in, since they weren't taking responsibility in the beginning. So we know this Barbara is going to be the twister, and then the victim has his understanding, and if he's right, he will be wrestling with the forces of the other one such that there's a tussle, and that will be spinning it around. That's not off the rails. That's watching the natural tussle until you see the point that the wrongdoer gets properly pinned and made to submit by showing, here's why you have wronged, and you have no other moves left. Using rationality and reason, we've shown you you are wrong. And you betrayed the dignity of the other person. Okay? I don't know what you mean by going off the rails. Stay patient. Going off the rails. Oh, and here's another important point. If we're 10 months in and it's going off the rails, could that not be maybe because the moral witness wasn't acting fast enough? Dude, I told you, any woman who's left unchecked is going to turn like Satan and try to destroy your thing. If you're the doctor with the syringe in the hand and the person's got the fucking disease, or they're shaking and fucking spewing out fucking foam at the mouth, and you have to save them by giving the injection, don't hang out there 10 months without aggressively. You might have to temporarily invade some barriers. Just get the damn arm, because the long-term safety is more important than the short-term. You strip the shirt off, doesn't matter if you get him in between the ribs. Save his life. He's getting violent. He's seizure. You have to override certain things to get to. Therefore, don't be shy. Go, because the one whose life is on the line is the one who you are supposed to be standing up for, your friend. His dignity, the life of his dignity. Every man's dignity is what counts. You cannot reframe and say it's somehow a transgression against your dignity. That what? You're giving long texts? Anthony doesn't have time for his friends, is the message that sent. Then you don't deserve a friendship with any human being who would ever expect that in a time of tough times that they should turn to you, because you will find their shit tiresome. You see what I mean? Yeah. And that's life. We're supposed to be involved for the terrible things because they're not actually terrible. That's just life. Because when you love each other, after you're done going through the crazy shit, you're still there for each other because that's how much you loved each other. That's the thing that binds human beings together. And then you say more is being added on before the original points are dealt with. Yeah. And whose fault is that? That's not a fault. That's between you and God. God, why am I in a situation where it's like complaining about the tide or the fucking moon or how hot it is today. It's not the sun's fault or any fault of the person who's in it. If the situation, see, what do you expect? Oh, I have to shut up now? No. Why? Why would I hold If there's something that needs to be said that's relevant to the situation, why would... So this is all selfish framing. It's trying to show, listen, know your place, John. Just curb yourself and put yourself into a little box. Why would I do that if I'm the victim? Who is the victim? The one who was given indignation by the other person in a manner that's neither defensible nor justifiable. This shit is so math-like and precisely axiomatic, it's almost unbelievable. I might be one of the first human beings that has it down to such a precise axiomatic thing. Everyone else sees it as a lot of wishy-washy gray stuff. That's maybe why everyone's having a hard time in life. So, you continue on. Have I not mentioned in meetings the points I agree with? Maybe. But you're posing this so as to justify or excuse some other aspect that I'm taking up with. That doesn't redeem. That has no redemptive power for you. So again, humans are funny. I like you all because you're game players. You don't actually love morality. You love me. Everyone loves me and their inna side. Why would you do that? Why would you love yourselves over someone else? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, you self-addicts. What are you doing? I told you, kill yourselves, ego-wise, so that you're not serving yourselves anymore. Earth, this is a message to all of Earth, in essence. Every human, nearly, has the same dysfunction. It's called me. Stop it. It's not about me. It's about you. I love you. I care about you. I'm here to serve you. But the minute you transgress against me, then the difficult part, that's the tough love. It's, I have to remind you that you're not doing correct. I have to remind you that you're not doing the right thing. I have to remind you that this is a betrayal of love. That's the ultimate super balance of the universe. Don't stray from it, humans. You continue on. You say, and I may not always see things in the same light as you. Well, sure. But on a moral issue you should, or you're not moral, or I'm not. And then one of us automatically has to be wrong and condemned. So it's mind-blowing. Actually, on morality, all of society must agree together. Otherwise, you don't have society. You have schism within the society into fragments. You cannot let that happen. The definition of a cohesive body is the body that operates under one moral paradigm as that of unifying umbrella. So you're not morally allowed to really have a different opinion when it comes to the preservation of someone's dignity versus not. That's a betrayal. So you're guilty of betrayal. That's not just fine. You see the difference? So that reframe job doesn't work either. It don't work that way. Next. And I'll voice that as well. Well, I'm a firm believer in always providing the opportunity to be heard. Yes, I may not like what you have to say, but I'll defend your right to the death for your right to be able to say it. I am that way. Keep saying it. You're responsible for the wrongness of your words, but do go ahead, keep saying words. I'll never stop your words. I'll only make sure I charge you at the end for each wrong word you said to me. See the difference? That's the distinction. So full responsibility means let him talk and then keep extracting payment. He wants to pay. I don't know why. He loves to pay. You see? Keep talking, bro. But I have to remind you at every turn in response to the wrong thing you said, if it's wrong, where it reasonably affects me negatively, that's what gives me karmic / moral jurisdiction to, I have to come in to clarify. I'm not going to be robbed of that. So that's what I was doing in the meeting with my mom. She kept saying things that were against me, untruth. I kept interrupting her to object because that's the natural right inherent as a maxim within the dignity of all of man's interfunctional programming. It's all of society's built on it. You're supposed to stop it and call it out. And then you reframed it as, hey man, why are you prolonging it as if you don't want... See, that's the not correct analysis. It blows my mind. We're not even up to that part yet. That's not what was happening, dude. So, again, I don't even understand why you're still arguing. If any objective viewer who's reasonable, the idealistic reasonable man, as I say in law, would look at this and then with correct assessment as like a godlike mind to really objectively see it right, all reasonable people across the board would be siding with me. But if you don't see that, then it's almost as if it's like, in essence, like a quasi-delusional. If something's wrong, bro, something's not lining up. But, hey, change the topic for a second. Rather from you, go to my mom. Hey, when you're standing with me and we're looking at my mom act about it all in the way that she does, you would agree, dude, that lady, it's funny how she won't admit and see the plain thing that's right there. We clearly see she fucked up. If she like clearly what's it? Yeah, dude, Anthony. As clear as she is in that, and how funny that is to us, that's you now here too, dude. Wake up. Look at see yourself. You're her now. It's the same thing. Why are you doing it then? If you know how funny she looks, I'm telling you, you're doing that same funniness now. It's funny, but strange and sad. Stop it. Look and realize you're wrong. You continue on. You say, I'm an individual who has offered quite a bit of help. Anthony, for every bit of good and proper help you've offered, everything else I've said here notwithstanding, I appreciate everything you've done for me. And I want you to know that now. And if there's any mistake about that, I'll say it again now to clarify and make it clear. Every good and proper thing you have done for me, I am telling you, you were an angel to me in that way. And it's something I appreciate and hold dear in my heart. I don't take that for granted. And don't get it mixed up and conflated that I'm picking up an issue here. So it's as if you have to remind me, yeah, see, John, I was there for you already. So how dare you make up issues about nothing? No, that's the thing, though. It's not about nothing. So with clear eyes, you actually realize, oh, Anthony, you did wrong. Therefore, oh, so no wonder John would get upset. Oh, so even if I did things for him, right, yeah, of course. Oh, wait. See? So clear. It's so clear when you open your eyes. Okay? So, yes, I know you did good things for me. Thank you. I always appreciate good things who come from people who are in my life and reconciled with me correctly and properly because they're under the same moral umbrella as me. You're not under the same moral umbrella with me and you've hurt me, then you have, as an axiomatic rule, you have to go eventually if you don't repent. Anthony, you're my friend for a long time, and I think you're being stupid or blind, but I'm expecting a friend to realize what the proper thing is and to take responsibility. I'd rather have you as a friend than someone who's ostracized from my life. But my faith in God is such that I'll ostracize any person, regardless of who they are, if they're guilty of something and they remain unrepentant, even though it's established objectively that the thing they did was in consideration of the situation. Okay? You got to take responsibility. That's the grown man's burden to do that. If you don't, then that's not a grown man. That's childish or that's immature. But it's otherwise not responsible or correct. I'm in my religion, I'm prohibited from having anything to do with people who are offensive in that way. Anyone, even mother and father, brother, children, son, daughter. Learn the morality. Follow it. It's the new way, but it's the old way again. There's no other way. And then, continuing with what you say, you said, yes, I've helped and all this, but I am not an extension of your viewpoint. Anthony, you could probably understand by now why I took so much offense to this. Although, that's not the straw that broke the camel's back. I would have taken that in stride and just been like, nah, dude, like, you should see it my way, and isn't a moral witness supposed to be an extension of the same moral principle we're both upholding under the same one united moral framework that overarches over our entire society on earth, see? So this relates to the opinion thing that I made the much longer diatribe about from the earlier part of the email. Changing opinion or extension of viewpoint, same issue, same point. Incorporated again by reference to cover this matter. You're supposed to be an extension of my viewpoint if you're the moral witness, and ChatGPT did an excellent job of saying that. There can be slight differences, but not ones that materially affect the core of the matter, such that the whole balance is shifted off. You have a different creature altogether. So far that it would result in what? Indignation to the person who's being robbed of what they could feel is a proper upholding of the sense of what? Justice. See how beautiful it is? All the variables and factors click together. It really is such an amazing universe we live in. Oh my God. Oh my God. All for justice. You're depriving me of justice when you do this, dude. Then I have to go get other moral witnesses to do my moral witnesses. What the fuck? Wake up. I'll do 10,000 chains if I have to. So the 10,001st hits them all back in line and further in again and again down back. That's my moral karmic responsibility as a child of God. See that? Programming. Correct. Honor. Have honor. Manly. Honor. Good. Serve. Love. Live. Be. I felt, and here's the issue now. Everything else up to here was worthy of debate or argument even, without it being like a coup de grace. This is the one thing that turned this whole situation into the next level, which is, dude, like, I can't talk to you if you don't apologize for the whole shit now, but this is the fulcrum that broke the fucking lever off, okay? You can't say to me, I felt when you didn't do this, but the thing you just said isn't true. So now you just lie, basically, because you've misspoken. That is, you've spoken carelessly. So what did you say in your more recent email? Oh, I was just trying to bring something to light. What? If you just misspoke, you're guilty. Only pay or be forced to pay karmically. There's no other way out. Volunteer the payment, or karma god will get you in the neck from the backside later in a way that's beyond me. Like, what the fuck? What part of the equation do you think you have some magical out window here? There is none. You were incarnated to learn spiritual lessons. There's no other way out. Yeah, we are in prison in a sense. It's like you have to follow the rules of the prison. The rules of the prison are love everybody. Get fucked when you don't. Hopefully not by those people, but they get angry too, and yet that's somewhat natural. And what part of that did you deserve? Oh, it gets very entangled. It's so interesting. Dude, take responsibility if you didn't responsibly conduct any little molecule of your entire existence. Love to own it and say, I did it. It was me. I fucked up. That's good to say that. Duh. What the hell else? Surprises left. There shouldn't be any. Right there in black and white is the problem that you are guilty of. You said to me, quote, I felt when you wouldn't let me hear. I didn't prevent you from hearing anything. As if that was the driving purpose and intent of my conduct was to be centered around, if you believe it, you have a misinterpretation problem, dude. That had nothing to do with you. I was cutting off my mom and correcting her for the repeated insults, continued offenses, and or lies and misrepresentations, not so dissimilar to this one here you've made, where it's my right in progress. So if you saw on the meeting that I was that gung-ho about doing that there, why would your circuitry think you could do it here? So I'm doing good godly service by making it this difficult for you, out of love. I care about your well-being and growth so much that all of this has to go to your frustration cortex to purge out the thing that allowed those words to be written by you in this part of the email to me. That's serving God in the highest fucking way. That's what rebuke is. That's why the most important portions of the Bible are about rebuke. Always rebuke. You are commanded to rebuke, with only very limited exceptions. That's it. You can't reframe. You tried other places to reframe here. That's really also some kind of subtle, tactful misrepresentation and game playing. But it's not the straw that broke the camel's back. This is here because this is a flat-out misrepresentation of something I did. I didn't do that. So you should never be loading your statements as if, remember when you stole the horse last night from Sheila? I'd be like, I never fucking did that. Why the hell did you? That's basically what you did there. When you didn't let me hear you did what? So right there, you owe me an apology because I never acted so to conspire with my own self to keep you from hearing things actively. Why would you put it that way? You're not seeing, because the same way you're not seeing this element is the same. I could wipe out the same part of your cornea or your pupil. The same one pixel damage will block 57 million different things across life because all of them were, the blindness of that spot was because of the one blindness of the one spot. You see? So your one dysfunction makes 79 problems every third hour. That's how people are with these things. But people who don't have the problems, it's like, I'll go 6 months or 6 years with maybe half a mild issue at best. You never have people in the middle. It's always you drive straight all life long for 20 years, or you don't just maybe have one or two accidents. You'll have maybe one, or you'll have 377. You understand? Because of the same one glitch. Stop it. Stop doing that, dude. That's the insult to the man. You can't tell another man, well, you did this and that, when that's not true. You just broke karma. You insulted me. You tried to frame me for something that's not what it is. So you're guilty. You're wrong for doing that. That's bad of you. Take responsibility. Own up. And you even embellished it so that, if there's a little bit of wiggle room to say, oh, that's not what I meant. Bullshit. The next line, you stamped it that's exactly what you mean. That's how you're framing it. When you wrote, did you think I was incapable of being able to debunk the things? Is that why you hid them from me and prevented the speaking? What? So right there, that's you being wrong. What would have been right? It said, John, let me ask you, is it the case? I don't believe it is the case, or I'm confused, so I'll ask you so that you could tell me, so that you inform me before I allow myself to hold a conclusion as if it's a fact. Because if I did anything else, I'd be a dipshit, a fucking insulting person to my friend. I would never be me. I would never be guilty of doing that to someone else. Tell me one thing I've misframed someone on, to this level. Right? Basically, dude, remember when you punched her in the face? That never happened. See what I'm saying? Go ahead. Can you point out hypocrisy on that? Have I ever done something like that to you? I don't think so. You can't just say whatever you want and then afterwards act like some magic card trick, some mulligan. Well, I don't know. Oh, no, that's just more reframing. It doesn't work. I have too many neuroreceptors in too dense of a spot. I see it all, and you'll just be like microscope called out on every molecule that's not in alignment. Because you're responsible for aligning your business when you interface with other people who rely on your business being aligned. More wholesome beauty of life. See that? You're responsible for the impact you make on other people. Start loving people, or they will have a hard time giving you the kind of love you want, but maybe you don't want it. That's all other psychological things. If I went down that, this would be 5 hours instead of 1 hour. So we're going back to your email now, since that now covers the point that you're referencing.